Well, what's happening, you plastic little weirdos? Welcome to America's premier premium toy podcast on the internet. I am your lovely, gorgeous, sexy host, Chet Maddox Superstar, along with the thunderous Alexander Storm. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on?
Oh man, are you excited for today? We have some day. How have you been? How have you been doing, real quick?
Good week, man. Always good to get to Wednesdays, man. It means 2 more days and we're on to something else, man.
That's correct. Well, hang out tight because we have a lot we got to go over. Marvel Legends is doing something in the morning, and then there's been talks about giant figures being made. Some weird emails got into people's inboxes, and you're not going to believe what we're working on next, but we're going to tell you it's up for you to believe. However, that is right after your friendly neighborhood non-Spider-Man. There it is. That's it. Welcome everybody in, Mr. Storm. You know what time it is. It's time for mailbag. But mailbag is actually where we just address the comments. Let's see who's hanging out with us today.
All right, we'll see it.
We have Mr. Moocher. Good evening, all. Welcome to you, sir. Of course, Commander Bly,
Always
welcome
first.
on in. Always first. Doesn't matter even if he is second. And then the Wholesome Warlock. If you want snuggles and you want a warm, tremendous hug, always find this guy. C's the director. Welcome on in. How you doing, sir? And then Moocher's hitting back with those purple hearts. It's going crazy. Happy Wednesday to you, Commander Bly, and the guy who knows everything about Star Wars all the time, Dr. Brentley. Welcome in, sir. Hello, how are you doing? And then, of course, Commander Bly. Hey, Commander Bly, we could not pay attention to his comments if you want. Much love. Let's get this toy party started. That's exactly what we're here to do. And we want to thank you for joining us. And we're excited. And as always, if you haven't yet, all 110,000 of you, hit the like, thumbs up button wherever you're at. Do the one that's positive. Make sure you subscribe, like, follow, all that crazy stuff, because we have some information at the end of the podcast to go over what we're doing specifically for members. We're excited about this. Mr. Storm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's ready to roll this.
Yeah, let's do this.
All right, let's go with C director where he says, "Let's get the party started." Let's get it started, brother. All right, all right. Well, you know what? If you don't know, we're gonna tell you. Tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. So now, if you're on the East Coast, I'm sorry, 11 a.m. if you're on the East Coast. But it's 8 a.m. in the morning here on the West. So it's going to be early toy day for all you people that's up all night and everything, doing your customizations and listening to Bandito Radio 112 FM in the middle of the night. Set your alarm clocks because you got a Marvel Legends fan stream going. And look, I think you and I said this. I believe the Marvel Legends teams have done more fan streams than any of the other teams. That's over the GI.JOE team and also the Star Wars team. I think that they've almost hit it like within almost every month or almost every other month, but they've done a lot more of these. So a lot of Marvel Legends stuff pumping, especially since they got that brand new deal that they have. So they're taking full advantage of this. So May 29th, we want to do a prediction show. Now, again, we will always throw a disclaimer up. These are just the opinions of Toy Box Chronicles. These predictions are not, we do not want you going to Vegas and putting money down on the books about what's coming up on there, because if you lose your money there, it ain't our fault.
Yeah, you're going to blame it on us, and that shit's not going to be true. And then we'll have to go after Commander Bly, and it's not
going to work. But,
never fun.
But this is purely predictions. If you got any predictions in the chat and everything, let us know what your thoughts are. But these are our thoughts. So we go to the first slide and we'll roll this through. The first one, we know the Fantastic Four is coming.
We do.
They've been stressing this, and also a couple of guys on X, the Marvel Legends team, have actually kind of teased this as well. So we know that these are going to be more screen accurate versions that'll be coming. Which I don't know, man. We talked about this on Pixel Plastic Inc., which is on Fridays here on the Shadow Knows Network. I'm a little worried about this. Just seeing, like, when we went to Mission Impossible and saw that last Thursday, and they had the Fantastic Four, and it was an updated teaser. It even worried me more after seeing that. But we'll see what these are going to be. Obviously, screen accurate versions of them, and a little bit worried about Pedro Pascal and some of the other actors. I don't know if this is going to be something that's going to be like what we want. And also, are we really, because they just came out with the toy versions of the Thunderbolts from the actual movie, and I haven't heard a lot of buzz beyond that. So first, Chet, let me ask you, do you think that these toy branded movie versions work? Or is it something that maybe the toy company should start pulling away from now?
So I don't know. I think we're in a spot where they only work if the movie's good. So if the movie's not good, I don't necessarily see. I don't know, maybe, because here's the deal with Fantastic Four, especially Fantastic Four. The Walgreens ones are already hard to beat. So if you are trying to do something that is gonna be like, Walgreens or some version of that. I don't know that you can necessarily like beat that. However, if you look from this one, you can tell that they've gone with everybody in the suit except for Thing, and the Walgreens one,
Mhm.
he was all red. But I don't know. Look, I don't think the Daredevil ones did very well for.
Yeah.
And I canceled my order. I know a bunch of people that canceled their
Mhm.
order. And it's like Commander Blythe says here: Thunderbolts are Ollie's exclusives. That
Mhm.
and Eternals, my friend.
Mhm.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, but I think also the
Um,
reason why the Thunderbolts were a little bit pushed towards that is they double pack this. I don't know if they're going to do the same with Fantastic Four. I think that's going to be a big mistake if they do, because we've seen the double packs just don't. There's a character
I
you care about and one you normally don't.
I wouldn't put it past them if it's a four
I
pack,
wouldn't.
and I'm just putting this out
They
there.
should. I think it should. They've done it several times before. I think it is. I don't know if that's something that you know people necessarily want because I with the rising prices, everything. Oh, that four pack's going to cost you a little extra something. So I don't know if they should do that, but I think it would be. But I don't think they should do it too. And look, I think the Walgreens ones was the far superior version of them. I think it's hard to beat.
Yeah,
They
I
were
mean,
extremely comic book accurate. I believe depictions of the characters. I don't know. Even when I see Pastel in the movie, he just doesn't look like Mr. Fantastic to me.
he's not.
It just doesn't work for some strange reason. I
Yeah,
want to be
I
excited about it, but somehow I'm worried about it.
I was really hoping that this movie was gonna break the curse, but like it's the stuff I'm reading and the stuff that's been happening with the movie. It's like I don't know.
Yeah, it's
I'm curious what other people think. If you guys think if the movie is gonna be if it's gonna finally break the Fantastic Four curse, or if you guys think it's gonna continue on. Just let us know below, and then we'll
yeah,
we'll address it and see.
but you know,
Commander Blythe said and Wakanda. Yeah, those figures are definitely all in
but
Ollie.
like again, the Eternals, great titling because they're internally at Ollie's. Wakanda Forever will forever be at Ollie's. The great titles
Yeah.
that match the toy line.
Dr. Bentley said Chet's right. They only work if the movie is good or has become iconic over a little time.
Yep,
I agree with that.
absolutely.
And Darth Moocher says he thinks Fantastic Four will be pretty fun. Will it be groundbreaking? He's not sure. And I think that's kind of it. Is it going to be strong enough to launch the next era of MCU films? Probably not, but they're going to have to go with it. So
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, they got it's like when they have a lot riding on it, it's a dangerous slope that they do. But now you own all of the Walgreens versions, right?
I do, yeah. I own all of them. I think they're all really good figures. I was trying to find them, but I can't remember which box I put them in after I did a photo shoot. But I'm gonna try to find them because I will order these Fantastic Four figures because I love Fantastic Four regardless of what they do with movies. It's kind of like one of my favorite like sub universes in the Marvel universe.
Hmm.
So I'll order them just to see, unless it's like really bad, then it's like okay.
Yeah,
But
it's like
I'm
not
curious to see
wasting
what
money
I'm
on that.
curious to see. Yeah, I'm curious to see what they do with it though.
Yeah, yeah, actually. But do you think that are the Walgreens versions in your mind the distinctive version of them? Because I know they've done three other versions of them, and
Oh,
two are in the four pack. You
yeah,
know.
Walgreens are the definitive Fantastic Four versions for me. They're just really well done. They all stand on themselves. They all are like Thing has a good weight to him.
Hmm.
Human Torch, like love him or hate him because he's red, whatever. But that was just kind of the where they wanted to go with it.
Yeah.
I think these are the definitives, and then you can buy like you can buy. I guess other ones are good. Although I haven't gotten my hand on the Mezco ones, which is what I really
Hmm.
want.
Hmm.
So that might change my view if I
So
could find Mezco.
if you're a new collector, you probably want instead of because I know there were two other Marvel Legends versions. One with Reed Richard in the lab jacket, one with a standard Reed Richard, and then the Walgreen 4 set. Uh, you're saying that it's just worth the money to go out and just hunt for the Walgreens versions over those other two versions.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think, I mean, that's what I would suggest. But
Okay.
if you're into the way they look with the white gloves and everything else and like all the
Mhm.
suits, I could see where you'd want to find the others. But I have all of them, and the Walgreens ones are my favorite versions.
Okay. So this is but you're saying the new Fantastic Four, it's a definite for you to pick up.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
unless
Okay.
unless it's really bad, and we've seen where they've done them
Yeah.
because I was like Daredevil was a definite for me too, and then I definitely canceled it after like the third episode. So
Yeah, yeah, that same way we're here. Once we were at the finale, I was like, I'll save my money. This character, if I do come into contact with that version of him, I'll find him out there. It's not so much where I think he's going to be a hard character to pick up. I think that Daredevil and the Punisher will be kind of easily to find. So,
yeah,
uh,
let's catch up real quick. We have Dr. Brentley, or actually no, this one. Darth Moocher said Fantastic will be pretty fun. Will be groundbreaking. We saw that one. Fantastic Four is not breaking any curses anytime soon.
mm,
I mean, Dr. Brinley so far has been right about a lot of things we have to talk about on Friday.
well, yeah,
So if you don't follow us now, make sure you're there on Friday. I think it's just a movie to get the family into MCU where Secret Wars will be the main focus. That's a really good.
that's a good point.
That's a pretty good point.
Hmm.
If it works out, they will be the focus of upcoming movies. If not, I think they'll get the Captain Marvel treatment and kind of push to the background. Yeah.
I think so. I think he's absolutely right on that. I think there will be a good point of that. But there's the main question came up, and that was something that was popped over through social media that we saw. And someone said that if you're going to have the Fantastic Four, and you're going to put that, is there any chance? Because Galactus, when he came out as a HasLab, Marvel gave a definitive. There will not be another class and size version of this Galactus. Now they said the same thing about a certain other character, and they made a little turn on this. But the question was posed on social media: do you think they will make a made to order version and maybe a Fantastic Four movie version of Galactus?
Hmm.
Mm,
I think that's a tough one for me. Um, so yeah, their official statement was there would be nothing bigger than Galactus in the line, and that this was gonna be it. Um, I wouldn't be if it's stylized different.
mm.
I'm not necessarily opposed to it. I think if they do it, it'll be the same size though.
Okay, all right. Um, if they do one, I I think I don't want to see it the movie version of it. I thought the X-Men 97 version of the Sentinel they did was smart. I don't really want to see a version of this because especially if the movie's not good, one, you're probably going to be able to pick this up for a very good price. But two, it's like you're stuck with that, and more people would probably want to get the HasLab version because I think that is so far that's the superior version of it. Look, I think the other version we can talk about this later. I also think the HasLab is a better version of it, but certain people miss out on those type of things, get opportunity. And I don't know if they did a made to order. Here's the one aspect that changes about the made to order. There's not going to be any of the tiers that the actual Galactus HasLab version came with, which that's what made that HasLab even more valuable, was just the part of all the different the different characters and heralds and everything.
Yeah, but I think I'm on board with that though, and I think that goes back to a couple of the ones we talked to about
Hmm.
before, which is I think you have to make a HasLab worth a HasLab, but I'm
Hmm.
not opposed to them doing like, hey, here's because I mean like Giant Man didn't come with crap, so
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to a Galactus. You take out all the things that the HasLab Galactus came with, and then you're lower on price anyways. And
Mhm.
I'm not opposed to being able to have a different version of Galactus without all the heralds because I think if you bought the one Galactus, you have enough. And look, like I have all the heralds, and it's just like I mean, at some point, I don't need every herald. I have them, but I don't need them. And I think it's there. I think sees the director said random question, but are pre-orders even worth it? Because I've been finding a lot of stuff in person before release date.
Mm.
Um, Moocher counters out with, "You can always cancel pre-orders if found in the wild. I always pre-order just to guarantee, sometimes guarantee, LOL." And then see the director says Hasbro will for sure remake it again with movie around the corner, like they snuck Unicron a few months ago.
Okay, all right. Well, I think Dark Moocher gave C's the best advice as possible. I've done that a couple of times where I've pre-ordered something. It's kind of like we had to joke about the Maximum Spider-Man issue, where like Dr. Brentley got a Maximum Spider-Man almost 2 months, and I still hadn't gotten a shipping notice from Hasbro Pulse about my Maximum, so I just canceled it. After a while, I was like, like you kind of made me get over this. I could just go out and get it later. So I think if you want to guarantee that you get it, especially items that are like exclusive to like maybe Walmart or Target or something, you may want to actually order that through Pulse because chances are it's kind of hard. I know here on the West Coast, I'm speaking from a West Coast point. It seems like on the East Coast, all kind of rare gems and stuff just pop on the shelf. But out here on the West Coast, it doesn't happen as much. So I say pre-order, and then you find it in a while, like Dark Moocher said. See, just delete your order, and it makes
Look who
sense.
showed
But
up. Look who showed
yeah,
up.
Purple Gang Gang, Purple
Purple
Gang
Gang
Gang.
Gang.
Yeah, and if
What's
you
up?
guys are watching that show on Saturday night, 6 p.m. Pacific time, you are missing one of the wildest nights on YouTube. Saturday night with the Purple Gang Gang. It is an absolute experience, I will tell you that.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It is, it is. So you're thinking that they are gonna somewhere down the line, you think they'll sneak in a Galactus again from a made to order aspect?
Yep.
Uh-oh,
Yeah,
uh-oh.
I'm not opposed to it.
Hmm.
So I understand it. Just don't do what you did for the HasLab, and it's fine. And I'm always fine with that. Like, um, I'm always fine with them reproducing a HasLab if it doesn't
Yeah.
come with the stuff HasLab came with.
Hmm.
It gives
Well,
people an opportunity. Like, look, if you don't have $500-600 to get that Galactus, and all
yeah.
you cared about was Galactus, and then they give you a like $200 version of it or
Mhm.
150 version of it. I mean, it's your collector. It's on your shelf, and then did you just decide because that may also trigger you to want to find that one.
Mhm. Well, here's what we've talked about, and we'll take a moment here before we move on to the next one. Is that I'm a firm believer that something at the end of the year is going to happen that I don't think we've happened in a long time, and I'm seeing this on Facebook Marketplace. I'm seeing
Moon
this on
travel.
eBay. No, I'm
Oh,
seeing I'm seeing that the HasLabs are going down in remarkable pricing. Like, there was a point where they hit the maximum peak and they were, like, rising to astronomical points, and I've seen more and more of these slip down to extremely matter of fact, under the actual sales pricing that I've seen.
yeah, I've
So
seen that too. A couple of them. Yeah.
yeah, man, I gotta think that if you're in the market for it now, Unicron, I don't think you're ever gonna find a Unicron at a price that's not like that's breaking the bank. Yeah, I think that character for some strange reason is like he is a character that 100%. I know you look like
Yeah, Commander
Commander
Blythe
Black.
said, "If you don't have 500 to spend on a toy, then stop being a broke bitch." Hey, and you know what, Commander Blythe, that's
Always giving
correct.
out good advice.
That's
Always
some
giving
good
out good
advice.
advice.
That is good
That's good
advice.
advice.
Yes.
Get out the game when you can. You can't drop 5 bills on something. Then what are you in here for?
Yeah. Get out of the game.
But I think that if you're looking for, especially because we've noticed this at some of the GI Joe HasLabs, they're not holding up as much value as we thought they were.
No,
Even the hit stink, you can find some sweet stuff for like below sticker price of what actually people. The Dragonfly, I know you can find at a price better. Why? Maybe
I,
because it was more ordered,
I know a
more
guy at a
people
convention
bought
that wants to sell
multiple.
you that. I know a guy at a convention that wants to sell you Dragonfly for $400 without figures.
Yeah, and what I tell you at that convention? That was a
Yeah,
no-no.
he said, "Don't worry, that shit will be there next
I
year."
said, "Don't worry, give him till December.
Yeah, so that one for
It'll
like 150.
it'll be back again. He's taking that home with him, bringing it back, I
Yeah,
guarantee you." But I think Galactus, I've seen him for like prices that have been under the $500 mark, Commander Black. And I've seen the Sentinel also. I've also seen the Sentinel go for different pricing too. So this is the thing, man. If you're out in the wild and you're looking for it, I think you can find it. Now, here's the one that I think that's going to change a little the philosophy to made to order. I think Dragon Man is going to be highly expensive when he hits because that made to order aspect is what does it.
Yeah.
Because we don't know, we know there was a certain level made, but they're not making that character again. And now you're stuck with something that, other people won't be finding. The people that ordered it got it. Yeah, I don't think there was a lot of multiples of it because it wasn't crazy like it has left. So Dragon Man, I think is going to be collector, I would say probably guilt free from like dropping like, I don't need this. I think that figure is really going to start costing when it
Oh
starts
yeah,
coming out.
I'm excited for that. I ordered 2 of them bitches.
Hmm.
I love Dragon Man. I told you like I love the Fantastic Four universe. Like
Yep.
Dragon Man, like I have the original Dragon Man. It's one of my favorite figures. It can't stand for shit. Even if I use the Tashi Station Emporium at TashiStationEmporium.com stand, it's not gonna happen.
Okay.
But like I'm excited because like you said, the made to order thing, like
Hmm.
we don't know how many they did. And the reality is you know,
And we don't know how many because they always have a certain amount that for damages or certain defects and everything to keep it a warehouse. But I don't think there's going to be an endless supply of that stuff popping back up later on Hasbro Pulse, like we've seen the Dragonfly, like we've seen from the Hiss Tank, like we've seen from Galactus. There've been every now and then some warehouse sales where that stuff will come back on the market.
or
I
the
think the
outlet,
made to
yeah.
order scheme is extremely smart because the people that wanted it got it, and then the people that casually come in like, I think I want Dragon Man, you're going to pay somebody some big bucks that actually did order it. It is not going to be a way around that,
Yeah, I think I
so
think I think that is smart, which brings us to the next one in
yes, sir.
conjunction with Dragon Man, right? And then also should they make a HasLab version of something that's already had a HasLab?
Hmm. Yeah, we're talking about the Sentinel. Now, look
Yeah,
from both images. Look, I thought this was a smart one. X-Men '97 was hot on the heels. People were giving it rave reviews, and I did not see this coming.
I
Because
didn't
again,
either.
they say has labs and everything. And, I was the Sentinel. I wasn't too worried about. Galactus, I was like, yeah, that's one of those things down the line I really want is the actual Galactus HasLab. But I was like, the Sentinel, okay, not big. But when this came out, an opportunity is like, well, since I didn't order the actual HasLab version, and this one's pricing wasn't bad, it was 197. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna pull the trigger on it because it's cool to just have a big figure. And it
Yep.
came with the same kind of like the I guess the tentacles
That's-
you can take from that and place it in this one. So I thought it was smart. It countered if you have one, then the second one was a cool buy. If you don't, then hey, you've got you got it sitting on to put on your shelf, and it's a little smaller than the actual last Sentinel, which is good because it gives you a little bit more room, gets you other situations. So I like the Sentinel. I like the X-Men '97. It's different aesthetics. It doesn't look like they made just the same figure, brother. That's what I love
yeah.
about it.
Like Commander Blythe said, I'm waiting for Hasbro to do a made to order Star Wars fig.
Yeah.
I'm with Moocher and them. I think that would be phenomenal to do. And if they ever do that, I'm jumping on Sarlacc and I'm going to talk about it because those
Yeah,
are the ones that I'll buy.
I think so.
Forbidden Panels in here. What's up, Forbidden? Welcome in. Sentinel would only be cool if the head is detachable and if it was cheap enough to buy more than one. Yeah, I mean, I
Absolutely.
think the '97 one was a little bit more reasonable. They have the like swappable faceplates. Um, I wonder if LFL is interfering with made to order. I don't know, maybe.
Mm,
What I like about this Sentinel, the '97 one. So I want the HasLab Sentinel, right? But I
yeah,
already have the figures that came with it. That was the most important piece to me.
absolutely.
Um, but then when they announced the '97. This made it worth me collecting all of the '97 figures because now you
Absolutely.
can do the whole setup and have them all around, and it all kind of matches the aesthetics. The
Yeah,
aesthetics match because you could tell this is very different from the
exactly. Hmm.
HasLab, and I
Hmm.
think that's cool. And I think that I'm hoping that if they do a made to order Galactus, which I'm pretty sure they will, I
Yeah.
think it'll have different aesthetics. And this is what I'm talking about when I say like I'm fine with it, because these are very distinctive. And so, I think it's a good thing. So
Yeah, and I just want to say hello to all the toy mercs who have popped in from Toy Mercs Live and everything. Nice to see you guys over here. And
yeah,
also
welcome in.
Forbidden Panel, AJ, if you're in there, you want to hear something a little bit different and watch something a little different. On every third Saturday, Forbidden Panel actually has a pretty good show up. So make sure you check out their information as well. Good time over there as well. Yeah, you know what? I got to give that to you, man. This you pushed me on the picking up the Sentinel and I
Hmm.
wasn't, and you were like, "You know what? You're gonna regret not doing this." And you know what? I was like, "You're right." I
Yeah.
actually did. I didn't pick them up the first time around, and I wasn't really interested, but this I just like the aesthetics. Whether you're a fan of X-Men 97 or you just got the standard Marvel X-Men line, I think it just goes well with both of them. So if you missed out, definitely. Fantastic Four and the Galactus made to order. I am looking forward to that if it comes down, man.
Yep. That's
You
right.
know?
And for everyone that just jumped in, thank you. Welcome as my sexy, gorgeous host, Alexander Thunderous Storm mentioned. Welcome in from Toy Mercs. We love you. It's exciting to have you here. If you have not, all 3,700,000 of you, click the thumbs up. Go ahead and smash it a couple of times. Also, make sure you subscribe. It helps us tremendously with the channel as the channel grows. And then shortly after this, you can stay for another exciting hour to Sarlacc on the Sarlacc Digest, who talk about all things Star Wars. And good luck stumping them if you think you know about Star Wars. You probably don't,
Mostly
except for
not.
Commander Bly. That guy knows everything, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
wild.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. I think these are good. I think it's a good change. Very different aesthetics. I'm not opposed to them doing an aesthetic change um, for the Galactus. I think there is a market for that.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure there's a market for that. So
Yeah, yeah. And if there's a bit of thing, we're gonna scratch onto this a little bit early than we thought we were gonna do, but we're gonna roll into it. If you are like myself and also Dark Moocher and also Mr. Maddox and anybody else that shouted out the term Yo Joe, well, you got something that hit your drop boxes that was a little bit better than you thought it was gonna be, and they got warnings that if you need to check and make sure your mailing address is good. Well, guess what? The absolute the thing that we have wanted to see since we saw that San Diego Comic-Con last year is actually getting ready to ship. It is the GI Joe classified version of the Rattler. That's right. It is coming early, man. And I can see with the glorious smile that's smirking underneath your face right there, brother, that you can't wait to get a hold of this. What are you thinking, man?
yeah, man. Look, I'm excited. So you're the issue when it comes to me collecting classified. I didn't want to do it. And
Mhm.
then I think it was right after you had got the his tank, and then I came over and saw it. I was like, oh yeah, I got to start collecting Cobra.
Yeah.
Um, so I have been on a manhunt for a bunch of Cobra classifieds that I don't have. Shout out to Darth Moocher. If you are missing some things in your classified collection and you need them, chances are he probably has no more Cobra stuff left, because I did retrieve all of that from him. But he does have a lot of Joes, including like a Dragonfly, a his tank. Um, he's getting the Rattler, so there's a lot of stuff available for Moocher. You could talk to him in one of their channels or right here. But man, I the reason why I'm so excited, number one, it was crazy to even see that email, because
Mhm.
you remind me, because you've gotten them more. Like, what has been the average release for a HasLab when it comes to being on time versus not?
I have
And like
never seen
what's the time difference, right?
I've
Like
never
his
seen
thing.
an email before, like, I think before October. It normally comes like November. And hey, guess what? Check your emails, check your things because you need to check your addresses because it's getting ready to ship. Two for two so far they've been. I received the His Tank in December. I received the Dragonfly in December. and they have never came. They were supposed to come in the summer, and we always get that update like, "Hey guys, yeah, sorry, but we want to make this better than everything else, and we're going to push it out." And I think the reason why was the one reason is the lighting effects. Look, that's
Mhm.
a whole different beast to itself. Whenever you're putting lighting in, and it's got to be right. If the buttons or like the connections aren't right, I could see a little R&D. This lets me know for the first time that not only have they nailed that, they've done product testing and everything. And I think the Rattler was put on the fast track way before anything happened. So that lets me know that they might be getting the bugs out of the GI Joe HasLab. So we may start seeing these in the end of the summer or midsummer. And actually, we may get this in hand by the next time they release, because Yojo June's coming up. We don't know if there's going to be a HasLab. We're assuming there's going to be one that's going to come up. I don't know what it's going to be, but I have a feeling that it's going to be a Joe related one, since the Rattler was the last one. They've kind of been alternating, like Cobra, then Joe, then Cobra. So I don't know what it's going to be. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do if they counter
Yeah.
certain things, because there's a certain amount of tanks that's out there, and they may just want to do their definitive version of a tank. You never know.
What if they did? What if it was another? What if it was another Cobra vehicle?
I don't think anybody would be upset about it. I think
Yeah,
that,
that's right.
there's a lot of great classic corporate vehicles. Look, at the same time that we're getting the Rattler, we should start actually seeing those notices come for the snake armors. First of all, this whole display behind me is gonna be completely changed, because now shelf space is at a premium, so I've got to buy brand new shelf and everything. I've been planning to do that anyway, so you'll see more stuff added on and everything else. Because I ordered 3 of the snake armor, and I don't know if I'm gonna keep all
That's it.
3. Yeah, yeah,
Just three.
yeah, I know, brother. You went big game hunting with that, didn't you? Would you like to
I
tell
wanted
me,
to.
people, that would you like to like actually pull your toy stunt out and let everybody know? Drop the mic on them. How many did you order?
Yeah, look, I have like 7, and
Okay, yeah,
they said there's a minimum order. You can
there's
only do
supposed to be.
2.
Yeah.
It's fine, but I literally have 7. So if anyone needs them, let me know, because I'm literally deciding if I'm going to keep them or cancel them. But then also at the same time, like, I don't know, it'd be kind of cool to have 7 of them, and I don't know what.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I said,
Um,
I did 3 with the point of saying I'll probably keep 2. And and from there, we've got I just ordered the corporate claw, ordered 2 of those. So
mhm.
like this is like a year of like that they're hitting. Like, I know they said a lot of stuff was delayed, but like between in the summer and into the winter time, a lot of stuff is dropping. And a lot of big items are dropping. So they have the dragonfly and the snake armors, and then all the like, wow, man. This is like, you better start getting if you're into GI Joes, get yourself spacing and everything else. And then for those Cantina people that ordered the Star Wars set, well, that doesn't have lights. So you may start getting some notifications, because maybe they were up on that too. So again, wow, man, this is what they call a shelf space nightmare, but it's one we will gladly accept. You know,
Yeah,
I'm just
I.
I'm feeling it, brother. I'm feeling it. Like I said, I'm seeing the joy. I was hearing so many people and seeing on the social media activities. Everyone was excited to get this in the summer, because it's the first time. And can you imagine some of the photography? Because when you were in the wintertime, it was coming. The skies were changed. Things were. I got a feeling there's going to be a lot of photography done with that Rattler in the outdoor sun, brother.
Oh, I'm already planning our next shoot, because we did the one that we're getting ready to release. Just finishing up some edits on that one, and that was giant enough.
Yeah.
But now I can add in like air vehicles,
Hmm.
including like your dragonfly and then the
Yep.
rattler, and we'll be able to do 2 rattlers. I
Hmm.
mean, you know,
Interesting. It's interesting. It's
what?
it's
Okay,
possibilities.
so what do you think? Like, you're pretty good at figuring this out. So
Mhm.
let's do this. What
Okay.
do you think what do you think? And don't worry about shit you've read or things you
Mhm.
haven't. you know, the HasLab version of stuff that they've released for Joe's.
Yeah.
Let's just say, okay, two things. Let's say that the next HasLab is a GI Joe focused one.
Mhm.
Okay, what vehicle is it?
Mm. I think it's going to be the Mauler tank. I think if you've got the, if you did what's the counterpart to the Hisk? I don't think it's going to be the Mobat because they would have to actually dramatically change the Mobat. But I think the Mauler is it's a huge vehicle, but it depends. If you want to see like who's coming with if you want Steeler, then yeah, chances are Steeler's coming with the Mobat, but I got a feeling it's the Mauler. The Mauler's a bigger tank. It's a larger kind of vehicle. I'm looking at the comments right now where Forbidden Panel said possibly the Wolverine and Commander Blythe, like thinking it's the Mauler. It could be as well, but also I see this comment of the 112 flag. And look,
I
nothing would
mean, look, I'm not opposed to that.
nothing would break
That
my heart better than to see that. But I think you're going to get a customizer. There is a gentleman out here on YouTube, and I saw him, and he did an actual 112 version of one that he did in 3D printed. I think you're going to get a 3D printer that's going to nail this even more detail, more situation, add lights in and everything else. Because we've already seen it happen with the Cantina. That there was a 3D printer out there that did a better cantina than Hasbro was coming, and it's the slot for you to put lights in. So I think you'll see that through a 3D printer, and I know there's a couple out there that's working, but I think it's going to be a land vehicle, and I think it's going to be the Mauler. I think the Mauler is going to come. I'd love to see the tier system with the Mauler because it won't be Night Force or something, but I it's gonna be interesting to see what characters they put with that. Maybe a Hawk or General Hawk version 2 or something. It's gonna have to be something out of the way, but that's my bet is I'm thinking it's gonna be a land vehicle for GI Joe, but I'm not opposed to another Cobra vehicle, you know?
and then what would you say if it was a is there anything outside of a vehicle that could be a HasLab from Joe?
Mm. They they
Because
outside of it.
we're getting Gold Slither, right? For
Yeah,
so
we're
is
getting
there
Gold Sliver.
so is there something that goes along the lines of that theme that they're kind of doing right now?
Mm. I don't know for GI Joe. I don't know outside it because Cold Sliver was a shot out of the dark, and I was like, look, I'm all for it. I think it's fun for the fans. It's something that you would not seen in the real American Hero because they never did those characters for that. Um, I think it's good to dive into the deep lore like that. I don't know from the actual show what else is the next kind of out of the way kind of scenario that they would do for that. That's kind of interesting too, because that leads you into maybe they could do a larger version of the GI Joe base. I know that would be, if
I think so. I That's what I think is I think if it's a Joe thing, I think that they test the waters with a playset.
if they've kind of done that with one of the new Vipers that's coming out. They have the mobile breaking point of that. I think they are going to start doing a little bit more. Look, I've got the 3D printed version of Checkpoint Alpha that's here. They could start. That's not a HasLab, but they could start doing those. There's bunkers and everything else that they could really start ending up doing. I
Do
see
you think
Forbidden
that they
Panel.
do you think they do you think they do the command station?
Uh they they could. You know what I'd like to see if they were going to do that. And I'm trying to God, it's hitting me on the stump right here. But it's the GI Joe the water base, the platform. I think I can't remember the name off the top of my head right now, but I think they could do that, and that would be HasLab worthy. It's the I can't remember what the name of it is, man. But I think they could do that. That's HasLab worthy, and I can see them. And it's a good size, it's a good footprint. You could put the Dragonfly because they tried to do things to complement the other HasLab. So when they did the SMS, they had that special hook on the back of kids tank that you could pull that. You know, same thing
I
with the
think that I
Stinger, the
think
van.
that GI Joe playset was like transportable or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's a little too big. You're talking about I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the mobile. Yeah, that's a little big.
Hold on, let me
But
look. No, you're talking about the one that's in the water, right?
yeah, I can't remember. It's the platform. I can't remember the exact name of it. But I think that's HasLab worthy, man. You know, and I think you come with some great figures. You know, we haven't seen a couple of the water characters that pop up and everything. We've only seen really kind of like Torpedo and some Vipers. So, you know, there's some
This one?
version that yeah, there you go. Yep, the
Yeah, the
tactical
transportable. Yeah,
yep. I think they could do that.
transportable.
I think they could do that, man.
This would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Um it's,
So,
you know,
Commander
I
Blythe
said call me
and
out. I know. When you
casting
can't
some.
remember when you have a FUPAR on the name, brother, you know, you gotta
Hey,
get that
Commander
in.
Blythe, anytime you feel like rubbing your knowledge with Mr.
No,
Storm
no.
here, he's happy to jump
I
on and video you.
I will give him that. But you know, we should have Bly. You definitely got to come on one night or something. We got to do something. We got to do a special recorded episode of Bly. Because I've seen him. And you haven't been over to Blitz Transmissions. He's number one. Tommy's killing it over there. But number two is that Commander Bly is over there. So if you want to see the wisecracker Commander Bly on camera, you get the opportunity to do that. I know you're not, brothers. I know you're not. I'll look forward to that. We're gonna
Yeah.
have to set that up.
So I think he has a good point. They did do Trouble Bubble, the Claw.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
the Skyhawk is probably next. That'd be
Most
cool.
definitely. If they
Made to
did
order.
if they don't do the Skyhawk, it's an absolute shame, man.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, it's a classic vehicle. I think almost every GI Joe fan coming up had that vehicle because it holds a special place. And I know there's some versions of them that they've done from some overseas companies that looks good, but you know, you always want something from from Hasbro and to see if they could update it. And I've got an idea. I think they can update a little bit more. So, you know, looking forward to that. But if you ordered the Rattler, now is the time for you to rejoice because it's coming. You're going to get something in the summertime. And that's always nice, you know. And then we've got those Sentinels. They said that's supposed to be out right around October, November. So, you know, look, first of all, you're going to save your last year. I like to say it was the packaging nightmare that happened in North America here was you had the Super 7 Cats layer that showed up, had the Dragonflies show up, and the actual and the Ghost from Star
Yep.
Wars all showed up in December. So if you were a UPS or a FedEx guy and you didn't slip an extra 20 in their Christmas little fund right there, then you kind of screwed them over because that was amazing the amount of stuff and the weight that they were doing. So, you know, always cool to see this pop up, man. I love to see things that surprise you, brings you a little bit more excitement. That also leaves room for if they've got a HasLab that's dropping now, they have another HasLab dropping. What else are they planning for us? Because now they've set the precedent. If you can get something out in the summer, then the next HasLab got to come out the same time in the summer. You don't want to hear about delays or anything else like that. You should have perfected your situation and moved beyond it, don't you think?
Yep. I agree, my friend. I agree.
Well,
Well, we got
here's
more to kind of go over on that. Probably just kind of see how things are going. I'm sure we'll hear something
yep,
tomorrow morning. So make sure that you guys are tuning in on Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, and for you Central people, it's whatever time is in between that. So I'm pretty sure it's like 9 p.m.
yeah,
Anyways, yeah,
yeah.
I'm excited for this, man. It's gonna be good. So
Yeah, we'll roll that through, man. Like I said again, I think it's really kind of solid. And one thing that I'm going to ask you that we were thinking about this was, you know, we heard the news last week about Super Seven. What do you think happens to the Super Seven Joe O-ring line? Do you think that that's something that's gonna, you know, they're gonna keep producing it, or do you think they're gonna let some licensing go and start focusing on maybe some original IPs? What do you think their plan is right now since they're in, you know, the midst of this rebranding scenario?
yeah, I mean, just remember this: every license has a guarantee.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, those Joe figures didn't exactly sell. So that was probably a loss because they had to pay the guarantee to Hasbro for the license. Hasbro made their money and Super 7 didn't. And if you look at everything that Super 7 does, that has like a guarantee, and you have to assume the guarantee is somewhere north of $100,000, right? And the guarantee means they have to pay that. I think if you start dissecting it that way, you could really look at like what licenses they'd probably be dropping. I would advise him to drop that license because the O-ring figures weren't that good. No one really bought them. They have the reaction stuff. I'd probably table all that line. No one really buys a $30 like 3 points of articulation figure. I think we're going to see a lot of licenses drop, and I'm curious to see also what happens, on the other end with like loyal subjects, because that we'll see the fruits of their labor. That starts in July with Mask. So
It does. It does. And like I said,
I'm just curious. Yeah.
Summer of stuff that's popping up that we never thought. How do you think that now that the pricing was all wrong? Absolutely. I'll give them that. Do you think that the pricing is going to affect the mask line, especially if we know, because again, we were looking at a Rhino over $100.
He's like, what is like 110 or something.
Yeah.
I don't think it affects it. And here's why, because they haven't released it. They said, everything that they announced was all subject to change. That's what people miss. So to say like, oh, Rhino was going to be 100, but now it's 130, it doesn't matter. It's not like it was on the market at 100 before.
Yeah.
So, and I think you still have some collectors that are going to pay for it regardless, just to say that they have them. I do think though, if the price is too high, I don't think we see a wave 2.
Okay. Well, again,
I struggle to even think that we see a wave 2, even if the prices don't change.
And for Commander Bly in the chat, we do always try to do what's mask. That's for you, Mr. Bly. That's for you. Well, you know what, man? We're getting close to the end, but you know what? We've got to let people know some upcoming events, my friend. Some upcoming events that are happening real soon. And if you haven't paid attention here, we've been going to a couple of toy shows around the country. We were actually premiered at Toy Atlanta, and we have been in all points and everything, having a good time. But we've been broadcasting live from those events, and also the SoCal Joe show that was here last month. And that was a fun time, man. Love to get out and meet everyone and have people come on. And, maybe if you're not able to attend a convention, then you can see what one's there with actually not you having to leave your living room. But we got a couple of key shows coming up. On June the 8th, we have the Robo Toy Fest out here in Burbank, California. Great event, man. We went to it last year, and we actually will have a vendors table there along with Odd Frog Entertainment. They're going to be there with the Bandito and some Bandito merchandise too. That's going to be cool. So if you haven't pre-ordered the Bandito, head over to your actual points that we're going to mention right now. One of our new affiliates that's popped in, that's coming with like you always say, is the skies is dark, there's shining a little sunshine through. Holy Grail Toys at holygrailtoys.com. If you haven't seen this site, impress the hell out of me, man. Impress the hell out of me. They are doing things here. They decided that, they've been in some business and some other things, and they were like, we think we can add something uniquely different to the toy collecting expo. So you'll have SKN having a booth, you'll have Odd Frog, and then Holy Grail Toys. But you want to explain our partners over Holy Grail and what they do, brother?
Yeah, I mean, Holy Grail Toys, they basically work with you to work on selling your collection, and also we have we've worked out with them where they have basically people that go around and verify your grails. So they're in the transition of still uploading collections from people that have signed on. But basically, once the product is verified, it pops up on the site, has a verification icon. And then from there, the item is shipped, and if it's been verified, it either ships directly to the purchaser, it ships to Holy Grail Toys. Holy Grail Toys then verifies for a second time and sends it over, and then releases the funds. What I love about Holy Grail Toys is that um, it's got the seller and the buyer in mind, and that's one of the things they talked about. Whereas if there's a problem with your order, and it's not what you thought it was, or it's not in the condition it was, the conditions before it's shipped out are all detailed in detail via photos. You may not see them on their site, but they do keep track of every order that's shipped. And so what they do is that if you get something that's not what it says it was, they actually front the money to send back to you, and then they go and receive the funds from the seller, and vice versa. So it's a really cool concept. It's I love their name. I think that's great. It's the drop culture. They work on drops, so they do limited run shirts. They're actually we talked to our group. They're the home of the merchandise for everything SKN. Actually, we just got everything from. We worked with them to get everything from Odd Frog. They're handling all the merchandise on Odd Frog, and then also David Vonner is kind of head of the board of like Holy Grail Toys. Has worked with them. They asked him to kind of come on and just like oversee what we were trying to do in the toy industry. So while he isn't very heavily involved, they do kind of like reach out to everyone in the industry for thoughts on like what's gonna work, what's not gonna work. And they took on Vonner's for the culture as well, so they're going to be doing his merchandise. It's really cool, man. I enjoy it. All the guys that run it are pretty rad. And they asked if they could show up. So they're going to have a booth on June 8th, which is going to be good.
Absolutely cool, man. So, like again, if you're in Burbank, California, which is right by the airport, the Burbank Convention Center, so you can fly right in, come to the show, and fly right out at the end of the show if you want to. But it's going to be on Sunday, June 8th. So we're looking forward to you guys coming through, and we'll put up times and everything that will be live streaming from that event there. And then on June 20th through the 22nd, it's not just going to be us. You can see our buddies over at Uru Toys, which if you haven't seen the fantastic Night Wolf, well, you got to see that in person. Great vehicle. Marcelo's a great guy. Want to have a chance to see that. And of course, our buddies over on the Bandito Radio 112 FM, they do a show called Full Frontal Purple. Well, the Purple Gang is going to be at that same event. So Joe Fest is the place to be if you want to see more of our extended family and everything. So make sure you're checking that out. It's in Augusta, Georgia. Great time. And it should be a great time of the year, actually, to be in Georgia as well. Then from there, well, you know as well as I do, July is the month of Comic-Con, and if you haven't attended to San Diego Comic-Con, well, it's a must for any fan that hasn't done it. You want to definitely head out to it and be it. That's going to be in San Diego, California, at the San Diego Convention Center from July 24th through the 27th. We won't be live streaming there, but myself and Mr. Maddox will be down there. David Vonner will have a panel there at the convention. Our good friends of the channel, Mega J Retro, will be down there. Aids from Ramen Toys will be there. So it's a great time, a great toy time. I've noticed, over the years, I've seen Geek Dad, Live Pixel Dan. I've seen anybody that's a YouTuber actually show up to San Diego Comic Con. And, hit us up. We're planning on doing a big dinner with the guys. So love to see some fans pop in if you're going to be down there and just, enjoy the time with you guys. Right, Mr. Maddox?
That's right. I think it's fantastic. If you just want to be immersed in the culture, this is where you want to be. We've all been attending it for some time, and hopefully we start to see kind of the rise of the indie toy makers, kind of like moving into San Diego Comic-Con, and I think we're at a point where we're going to probably start to see that. So I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be fun.
Absolutely. So that's where will be a coming schedule. But on YouTube, hey, you want to make sure the week is not over with yet. You can check us out on Friday on Pixel Plastic and Ink, which one of the main subjects will be the Rattler for Friday. So make sure you stop in. Want to talk a little toys, talk a little films, a little comics. We're going to do it all on Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time and 10 or Friday 7 p.m. Pacific time. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. And then on Saturday, the Purple Gang, 6 p.m. on YouTube Pacific Time. You want to check in and see our guys there. On Fridays over at Bandito Radio 112 FM. If you don't know, it is on its own YouTube channel and it is 24/7 now. And every Friday, the new podcast they have over there, Action Figure Frequencies, myself and Mr. Maddox, Full Frontal Purple that's on there. New episodes drop every Friday. Check the social medias out there, ours or Odd Frog Entertainments or the Purple Gang to find out what time the actual new shows, because it was blocks, but now they're going to actually have time slots put in. So you can listen to music 24/7. That's for the toy enthusiast. And if you're into toy photography, toy customization, anything about that, Bandito Radio 112 FM on YouTube, or you can find it where you get your podcast from Spotify, Podbean, Apple, iTunes. You can find it all over the place. But if you want to listen to it 24/7, pop over to the YouTube channel. You can do that. Hey, man, we got to get out of the way because we got the best damn Star Wars show on the planet, the Sarlacc Digest podcast, which is starting to roll in, and you could be able to jump all in from there. You don't even have to leave now. We're just going to put you in a little stream, and you'll magically go to a galaxy far, far away. Right, Mr. Maddox?
That's right. Again, we want to thank everyone for everyone over on X. We see you. Thank you for joining in. It's been fantastic. Instagram, we appreciate you. Thank you for hanging out. YouTube, as always, we love you. Stay tuned for the Sarlacc Digest, like my friend here, Thunderous Alexander Storm said. But hey, we appreciate you all being here. You've hung out with probably the most premier toy podcast to exist on YouTube. I've been your host, Chet Maddox Superstar. Along with Mr. Storm, I don't think it gets better than this, but you're going to try, and Sarlacc comes close. Until next time, keep chasing those plastic dragons, you little plastic weirdos.